I love what you laid out there. That whole story is like, it really is about exploring your curiosity,
Yeah.
taking it in chunks. I think so often we feel like we have to do everything all at once. When we
Yes.
make a change, we're like, oh my gosh, I need to, join most of the people I work with, right? They join a boot camp and they just like
Yeah.
drop $10,000-$20,000
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
make this huge career and life change. And
Yeah.
it's a lot of times overwhelming. Like one of the things that I think is so it's so interesting what you just said. It's like the government even has programs for you to like learn for free if you really want to,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that doesn't really happen here in the United States, right?
No.
Like
No.
everything is so expensive, and one of
Right.
the things that I see people doing is they almost use education as a way to procrastinate the job search.
Yes.
And so they'll say, I need another degree or another certification or another program. And
Yes.
they're dropping tens and $20,000 and $30,000. And
Yeah.
I'm just like, stop, you're driving
Yeah.
yourself into a hole, but you're taking it so strategically. It's like
Yes.
100 pounds, or
Yeah.
$100, 80 pounds.
Yeah.
That's reasonable, right? That's a reasonable
Yes.
introduction into this world. So
Yes.
it's
Yes.
just exciting to hear you say that.
Oh, thank you. So actually, I hadn't actually realized that they even did a free like introductory hour on SheCodes, but I was so like pumped. I was like, oh, I've got to do the first one. So I did the first one and then I broke it down. So I think all my courses came to like maybe £1,000 for all of them, because I have heard like about these boot camps where like you do 3 months, it's like £7,000-8,000, and then some people get jobs immediately, but I don't think that is something that, I don't think that's the norm. And I think also with online platforms, people are going to curate what they portray. So they say, oh, I went from zero to hero and, I've got a, but it doesn't always work like that. And you have to break into it because it's a new language. Like if you were learning a foreign language, like I'm learning Swedish, or if you're learning something else, it takes time. You're not going to be fluent just like a 3-month. You could if you're like that kind of person, but the norm is you have to work at it. So I'm trying to kind of immerse myself, but slowly in a way that works for me. And it's not just the coding, it's all the background work. So like coming onto LinkedIn, I didn't have LinkedIn for a very long time. I was a bit apprehensive about having it again. And then I was like, but I want somewhere to have my courses, because I knew that I could link my certificates from SheCodes to LinkedIn. So that was the first reason I got it. And I remember I actually connected with someone else from SheCodes pretty much after I made my account. I was like, oh, I like it here. And I've built my network, not massively compared to other people, but from having like, not having it at all, say like this time last year, I've got nearly 900 contacts, which I guess is okay.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Yeah,
it's a good start,
it's
right?
Okay.
Well, and you got to think this is a lifelong process, right? It's 900 now, but in 10 years, it'll be totally different. And one of the things that you called out there, I think is really important, of like these boot camps can be very helpful, and people do get jobs from them. But what you're doing by taking these courses, by doing it on your own, is building the, and I like how you said, like, I was coding in the morning, I was coding at night, I was trying to figure out where I code best, when I code best. And what happens with a lot of people that go through boot camps is after they graduate, they join the boot camp because they needed accountability. They needed someone to kick them in the butt every day and give them a schedule. And then as soon as the boot camp ends, they don't have a schedule and they don't have any process. So they go right back to not doing anything. And then 6 months go by and they haven't coded, they haven't learned anything new, they haven't taken any additional deep dives into things. And so what you're doing, let's say, something changes and you do take a boot camp, you've already built the self-discipline to make you more successful in the boot camp and after the boot camp. Because now you have that knowledge of when you work best. You're not just doing it because someone else is assigning it. You're doing it because you want to do it.
Yeah, and I think because also, I think I said in my notes to you, I was training to be a teacher, and I did a course where it was like go to college for a day, and I found that really didn't work for me. I found it overwhelming. So I think it's finding what works for you. There's so many things out there in terms of coding. If people want to code, there's so many different avenues. You could do a workshop, you could go on YouTube, you could get a book. You just have to find what's right for you. But my advice would be, don't be spending thousands of pounds unless you know for sure that you work like that and that you have the money. And I knew that I was comfortable giving this amount of money, and I spent like money on making like a nice office area. So it's all little different steps. I think we just need to think more like, not blindly go for something because that's what everyone's going in, and we hear a few success stories. If you don't work like that, don't do it.
Right.
Yeah.
And that financial piece, right? So many people I talk to, it's like, I was expecting a job right out of the boot camp, and I'm like, you've got a 6-month journey ahead of you that is a whole different skill set, because you still have to learn how to get a job, and that's the hard piece, right? Like, once you get the education, learning how to code doesn't teach you how to interview. Learning how to code doesn't teach you confidence. Learning how to code doesn't teach you curiosity. It just teaches you how to code, right? Like, just because I know Spanish or something, which I don't, but if I learn Spanish, I learn Spanish, it doesn't mean that I'm like able to get a job in Spain, like in Mexico or Spain, right? Like, it's like that doesn't translate. So there's a whole different skill set that needs to be learned on top of the primary skill set of the job, because you're going to go compete with other people who have college degrees, who have boot camp degrees, who have other self-taught processes. And so I'm kind of curious, like, are you thinking that far ahead, or are you just heads down on the technical side of things?
I am thinking that far ahead. So I kind of like, because you asked about like the job search and stuff, I would say I keep an eye out for jobs, but I try not to be overwhelmed by it, because sometimes you see like junior role, but they ask for all these different kind of tech that I don't know, or they might ask for 2 to 5 years or college degrees. I will only apply for things that I really, really want to do, or I think match my skill set. But I think you just have to break it all down, because otherwise it will just become overwhelming.